What's in the box, man? For any of you who have seen the old movie Seven with Brad Pitt and I believe Morgan Freeman, he kept asking him, what's in the box, man? That's what we're asking. We need to know what were in those boxes that were taken from Mar-a-Lago. That's what we're going to be talking about today. What is in the box? Now, obviously, none of us know. None of us have FBI clearance or anything of any significance to compare to this, but we can speculate on it. Now, what is it? The Washington Post, Washington Times suggesting that perhaps he had actual documents pertaining to our nuclear program or maybe the weapons program of one of our rival nations. What is in the box, man? I really want to sound like Brad Pitt on Seven. What's in the box, man? I mean, really, what's in the box? Why won't he release the warrant? President Trump himself. The judge has given, at the behest of Merrick Garland, trying to publicize the warrant. I believe a judge has given Trump till 3 p.m. today. I don't know if that's Central or Eastern, probably Eastern. 3 p.m. to release the warrant himself. Why hasn't he done it sooner? Now, looking in the comments real quick, I'm hearing it's something to do with nuclear programs. Exactly. Jokers. That's what I heard as well. But why do we have to hear this shit? Why do we have to speculate? Why can't Trump himself just release it? Can someone in the comments tell me why you think this guy, President Trump, number 45, is delaying the release of the warrant? He can clear all of this up. Why let us speculate? MAGA speculating, liberals are speculating, mainstream media, right-wing media, everyone is speculating as to why the FBI went into Mar-a-Lago. He could clear all of this up because, make no mistake about it, Trump himself is joining in the melee of speculation. He himself is suggesting it's a witch hunt. Well, why not just release the warrant? I mean, like, what is the song going to... Seriously. Like, have you seen these documents? I mean, just release them. We want to know what's on there. We don't want to sound like a TikTok video. Or better yet, is it a possibility that once the documents are released, there are going to be TikTok videos, but they're going to feature Trump? Oh, no. Do we have to see that? Do we really? Why not just release the documents? That's all we're asking. Can someone suggest why this man would be delaying releasing these documents? Because we know they're going to come forward. It's just a matter of time, folks. Look it in the comments real quick. Trying to anger his MAGA minions. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. But we know this stuff is going to come forward. We know that eventually, certainly now with Merrick Garland pushing for it, these documents are going to come forward. And that's what it could be, possibly a chance. I'll go right to the box. But it possibly could be a chance that these documents are going to make Trump look bad. And you're going to have a whole bunch of liberals releasing TikTok videos that feature the sound, oh, no. Is that what we're going to get? Let me go to the box. Going straight to Edward Thomas. Good afternoon.
You're a traitor piece of shit. Hang on, Edward. I always love my interesting comments here. Richard Dog is suggesting that I am a traitor. Papa, Oscar, Sam, a piece of shit. How am I? I'm simply wanting to hear from the folks. Talk to me, Edward. What's on your mind?
So I just kind of caught in on you. You asking why he hadn't released like a copy of the warrant or anything like that?
Yeah.
They didn't leave it. They took it. The FBI showed his people the warrant, and then they took it back and left. And this was on the CNN. I'm pretty sure I read it on a CNN online story. Is that they're saying that they didn't even leave a receipt of what was taken.
Is that even legal? When they went to perform the warrant on Mar-a-Lago, Trump himself was not there, but his lawyer was. His lawyer was present. You're going to tell me they left without leaving a lawyer of all people, not leaving him the warrant or a list of itemization as to what was taken? You're telling me that?
That's what they are saying. They're saying
Then
that they showed them the warrant, and then they took it back, and that's why Merrick Garland, because the article that I read was saying that the reason Merrick Garland's even trying to do what he's doing and trying to release all that information is that it's blown back up in their face because everything got out.
okay, but the question is, if they didn't leave an itemization of what was taken, how can you ever know what was taken at all? I mean, is that lawyer not worth his salt at that point? How could you let them perform a warrant, take a bunch of stuff out of your house, and not even leave a list of what they took?
Again, I would agree with you because that is illegal, but just looking over the last few years, and I ain't even talking about Trump, I'm talking about anything. Seems like the police and our government don't have to follow the rules anymore.
Well, the problem is, though, I'm not hearing that from the Trump camp that they have no idea that what was taken. Is the Trump camp themselves suggesting that they have no list of itemization as to what was taken?
They're saying that they were not given an itemized list of what was taken. Now, I'm sure they probably know what was taken, but they're saying that the FBI did not follow the rules. And of course, Trump does what Trump has always done. He's doubled down and said, release them. Why has the judge got to tell you to release them? Release them. Come on, let's see what's in the warrant. Put the warrant out.
So in other words, when Merrick Garland got on television yesterday and stated that Trump has the warrant and has the itemization list and he could release it anytime he wants, you're saying Merrick Garland was lying.
I mean, that's what they're saying.
Okay.
I'm not saying that's just the article that I read. That's what they're saying. They're saying they were given a copy of it. The FBI took it back.
Does that sound like that makes sense to you, that at the presidential level, you could go in a former president's house, take a bunch of shit, and not even leave a list of what was taken? You personally yourself, do you believe something like that could happen?
I'm going to say, personally myself, I would hope that wouldn't happen. But then again, who would have thought that this could have happened? Right?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I would have never thought. I mean, everybody knows that presidents have taken shit with them when they've left. You know what I'm saying? Well, the big rumor is Hillary Clinton took to China, and she wasn't supposed to.
Here's the problem, though, and I can see where this could ultimately lead. If the Trump side is saying that they have no list of what was taken, anything that the FBI suggests that they took from that house, it leaves the Trump side room to deny that. Right. There's no list showing you ever took it, so anything that is taken that looks damning to to President Trump, he's just going to simply say, you didn't take that from my house. It's like getting caught with drugs in your car. Those aren't mine. Right. He's going to just say, you didn't get that from here.
Right. And again, I agree with you wholeheartedly. My thing is you would think that they would just stop by some point, because every time, and I'm a Trump supporter. I voted for Trump. I voted for him twice. You can just look at it, and every time he comes out better than what he was before they started.
Yeah. He has been able to defeat a lot of investigations and a lot of cases against him, but just like anything, if somebody keeps trying to perform hits on you, eventually they're going to succeed. I mean, how many more cases that are in line actually behind what we're dealing with now? Georgia, state of New York, I believe Arizona has something that's still going on. I mean, eventually, you think he's going to dodge all of this stuff?
He's done it so far.
Okay. Nothing wrong with playing the odds. Nothing wrong with playing the odds.
He's done it so far, but now here's the scarier thing. So now it's been opened up that, all right, well, what happens when Biden is no longer president?
Okay.
So, and the same thing happens. And this is what it's devolving down to. Well, you just did this, so guess what? when we take control of the House, we are going to look into Hunter Biden's actions. We are going to look into the fact that Hunter Biden lied on a NICS form, which is a federal offense. We are going to look into all this stuff.
Well, I don't see any issue with looking into Hunter Biden, but at the end of the day, Hunter Biden is a citizen. He's not a politician. He doesn't hold any office. If you want to go after Hunter Biden, that's just like with the Black Lives Matter, rebuttal about, as opposed to January 6th, what about the riots that Black Lives Matter committed? If you want to go after regular citizens for committing crimes, that's fine. But we're talking about, potentially the president of the United States. So we're talking about something that is. Go ahead.
And I agree with you, but all the accusations and even all the documentation that says his dad knew what was going on, right? You got all kinds of stuff that is out there that they're trying to quench down that says, you know what your son is doing. Your son is connected to you and your position. I mean, I'm not a conspiracy theory person, but how dumb do you have to be? How dumb do you have to be?
Biden, wait a minute. Let me ask you this. What if Hunter Biden was committing crimes and Joe Biden actually knew about it but did not participate in any of it? What does that do for Joe Biden? I mean, just because you know your family member is committing crimes and you don't tell on them, that doesn't mean you're criminal. I'm not defending Biden at all. I'm just asking.
And I will agree with you, but supposedly, and again, I ain't seen any of this myself, so people are talking in theories. But supposedly, Papa Biden was getting his cut.
Okay. Well, you're gonna have. There's going to have to be a lot done to prove all of that. Probably.
I agree. I agree. Okay. And that, but it seems like that's what our politics are going to devolve down to, because they're not. They're chomping at the bit to take control. As soon as Republicans, and I'm a conservative. As soon as they take control, all these investigations are going to switch to a different person.
I will say this though, and I gotta part ways. I'll give you the last word, but I will say this: when you suggest that the investigations will take a different route, I would submit to you, it depends on which Republican wins. And what I mean by that is, if DeSantis wins and Biden is no longer in the picture to run for office anymore, I don't think this would be as strong. If Trump wins, however, Trump is going to go on a revenge tour. So we know Trump is going to go after any and everybody that spoke negatively of him or his administration. But I don't think DeSantis or Pompeo or Nikki Haley or any of them, if they were to become president, I don't think you're going to have this, because it's a matter of, generally they want to get you out of the way. Just like with Hillary Clinton, as crooked as they claimed Hillary Clinton was, the minute she was no longer a threat for the presidency, all of the investigations against her went away. And that's normally what would happen with Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and all of that. It's just a little bit different with Trump, because he takes things far more personal than most other politicians. They know how to see discourse. And once one person wins or loses, they shake hands like a professional fight. Trump takes it personally. So he doesn't shake hands. He still continues to fight you outside of the ring. So that's where I would agree with you, but only if Trump wins. Last word is yours.
Well, and normally I would agree with you, but I think the continuation of trying to smear Trump and trying to arrest Trump and everything. I mean, he's been out of office for almost 2 years now. So, sure, he's out doing his rallies and everything else, and whatever. It's his prerogative to do so. And if people want to go see him, they can go see him. But yet they're still trying to pin stuff to him. They're still trying, every time you turn around. So, in all honesty, I think this is a shot over the bow. And in all honesty, I think you'll find Republicans that when they get in, even if it is DeSantis as president, he's going to shoot that shot back over the bow and say, you can do it, we can do it. Is this the way we want to go?
Well, you would also agree that while Trump has been on his rallies, he has, because you said, they keep trying to go after Trump. You would agree that while he's on his rallies, he has been constantly going after people, trying to pin things on people too, right?
Yes, I don't disagree.
All right. All right. I got to move it on, man. Appreciate you coming through, Edward. Come back through anytime.
All righty, thank you.
Absolutely a pleasure. Good talk.
DeSantis ain't going anywhere. You folks in Florida are really open that. You know, the door for the Republican ticket is wide open for DeSantis if Trump will step out of the way. If Trump stepped out of the way, because I think they had CPAC a couple months or so ago. Trump came in first place in regards to who the Republicans would want for the nomination in 2024. By a wide margin, Trump came in second place. However, Trump came in first place, rather. DeSantis came in second place, and he also securely held the second place position. And then there was Ted Cruz and some of those counting back, but it's pretty clear that if Trump stepped down, or maybe something else happened to Trump, but I mean, when I say something else happened to Trump, I mean him being featured in a bunch of TikToks with the sound, oh, no, 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 no. I'm talking about something happening to him like that, where he, faced some criminal charges or something like that. The Republican Party looks like they would support Ron DeSantis. Let's go to Jamie Pizzini in the box. So what is in the box? Sounding like Brad Pitt in the movie Seven. What's in the box, man? What did they seize from Mar-a-Lago? That's what we're wanting to know. What's in the box, man? It looks like, Jamie, I'm trying to bring you on, but I'm getting I guess, loading from TikTok. I don't know if it didn't come through. Looks like it would not. Let me go back to the box, because I got something going on. Hell, Sean.
Get in the comments real quick here. Sean, can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up, brother? How you doing?
Okay. I'm doing good. Good to hear from you. What's in the box? I mean, what do you think they took from Mar-a-Lago?
Nothing. Because I watched a segment. Now look, I've done told you I'm not a Democrat, Republican. I don't support either side or whatever, but I do have eyes and ears. I don't think anything was in the box. I watched a report with Bill O'Reilly, with Trump's the lady attorney. As soon as she got the call from President Trump's,
you talking about Sidney Powell?
Who is it?
Sidney Powell, Trump's attorney. Is that who you're talking about?
No, it was a different lady attorney, and she went to the house. She went to Mar-a-Lago. Okay, she had to be waved in by Secret Service, to even get onto the property. And once she got onto the property, she went to start filming with her phone, and the FBI shut her down. Said no filming, no nothing, no filming. They wouldn't even let her. Now, I've never heard of an attorney not being allowed to watch the search, because that's Trump's attorney, that's Trump's house, whatever. I've never heard of that before. That the attorney not to be allowed to watch the search, or to even be watched what's taken from the search. And because
so let me ask you this: if you think they took nothing from his house, just a quick question: why do you think Merrick Garland is pushing to have the warrant released and a list supposedly of what they took? If they didn't take anything, why is he trying to push himself? I mean, he literally took Trump to court to fight to get the contents taken from his house released to the public. Why would he want to release a copy of nothing?
Because it's all a stage. It's all a front, because they cannot criminally charge him so that he cannot run for presidency again. Okay? All this stuff is civil stuff. Okay? This is all to stop him from running. They're trying to get something on the books that can legally say that he cannot run for presidency again. That's what all this is about.
What are you going to get on the books if they seize nothing? You're going to release a blank sheet to the public. There is nothing to get on the book.
Okay, but that's why. Okay, you said he's pushing to have this list released. Okay, if there was a list to be released, it would have been released. If Trump, like you just said, that like you said to the other guy that there's no way that they went in there and didn't give the attorneys a list of Trump's people, a list of what was taken from the property. That's because there was nothing to be taken from the property. All this is a front to
So
keep
I
them.
have to ask, and by the way, folks, tap the screen, get your boy up to 5,000 likes. You know I ask
Get
you
him
this
up
every
there.
time.
Get him up there.
Thank you. So what I'm asking, so if when Merrick Garland's list of itemization of what was taken from Mar-a-Lago to Trump's mansion is ultimately released, it's going to be a blank sheet according to you, right? I
It's
mean, there's
never
nothing
gonna.
on it.
It's never gonna be released. All Mayor Garland is doing is putting himself in the front row to say that, hey, I tried to get this done. It's never gonna get done
What
because
would
there
stop
is
it from
nothing
get? Wait,
to
wait, wait,
get
wait.
done.
What would if you saying it's never going to get released, and Merrick Garland is fighting to get it released? What's going to stop it so that it never gets released? What's going to stop it from getting released?
The fact that there is nothing to release. You see what I'm
Okay,
saying?
that's
It's just
fine.
a front.
If there is, yeah, but that's fine. If there is nothing to release, I understand your point. But if he's fighting in court to get it to actually get it released, what litigation is going to stop that nothing from coming out? They have to rule somehow to say no. What Merrick Garland is fighting for cannot be released. Who's going to put up that resistance
The,
against Merrick Garland?
the fact that when Trump's attorney showed up at the Mar-a-Lago, they would not let her videotape. They would not let her into the premises. They would not let her see what was taken. That's what's going to be because, like you said a while ago, how you said that? Shit. I forgot how you said it. You said it so perfectly earlier, a couple of guests ago. You said it so
Okay.
perfectly. I can't
What do
remember.
you? Cue me. Maybe it'll help. Cue me into what you're talking about. I'll see if I can remember.
When when you said that there was this box and there was no way that the Trump administration or
Yeah.
whoever
Okay. The point
for
I'm
Trump that
wondering. I know
they
where you're going. I think I know where you're going.
they didn't get a list, they didn't get this, they didn't get that. Okay, so why wouldn't they let the attorney in there, his personal attorney? Okay, why wouldn't they let this personal attorney in there? And like I told you a while ago, I've never heard of this
I
before.
got an answer for that. I have an easy answer for that. If they're accusing the Trump administration of being in possession of confidential documents, what is it? Not confidential, but I can't even think of the proper word. But confidential is a synonym for it. If they're suggesting that they're
Top secret.
classified.
Yeah,
If they're
classified.
suggesting that the Trump administration is in possession of classified documents, only people with top clearance can see those documents. Trump's lawyer, the one that they denied access, does not have clearance. That's
Okay,
why they
you're
won't
right.
let her. They won't
So,
let that person in there.
okay, you're right. Okay, but just because like I said, they took a box. Okay, they didn't have to let her see what was in the box. But for the main fact is that they searched one part of Mar-a-Lago. Okay, she asked could she at least go into the other part where there was no search being done, no search at all being done, and they denied her access to the whole building, the whole man, whatever it is, I don't know, whatever the mansion, building, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Okay, but they denied her full access to any part of that building and made her stand outside like she was a damn reporter. Okay,
Well,
now, like I
let
said,
me
they
let
don't
me
have to
say
show her
this.
what's in the box, but at least the attorneys has always had access to be in the property to in the
What if
realm.
they what if they believe that if you let this attorney in, this attorney may actually try to hide or destroy other evidence in other parts of the building? I mean,
I
you
mean, come
don't
on,
know.
70, you got 70 FBI agents out there, and you just gonna let a woman run free? No, they're gonna be watching her. They're gonna be
I
watching her
know
like a hawk.
people. I know people who will try to. I've seen people try to
You're right.
flush
You're
drugs
right.
down the toilet right in front of the police. The fact that they
You're
can
right.
see her, if they think, if a person thinks that they can save her, you don't know what may happen.
You're right. No, you're
You got to
right.
understand. The FBI wants full control of that mansion when they're there.
But again, at the same time, how many times has cops, FBI included, planted shit?
Yeah.
Because
On the
there's
president
nobody from
though?
the
Yeah, but
opposite
this is
side.
on a former president. This is not some dude in the hood. This is a former president. You think they're gonna
They
plant
don't
something
want
like
him.
that on him?
They don't want him run. They do not want him running for presidency again. And it don't have to be a dude from the hood or a white guy like me from the suburbs. They don't want him running for presidency. And the only thing they can do to stop him is to get something on him. Now we all know that the cops, the FBI, Secret Service, CIA is not above doing dirty tricks.
Okay. Well, you gotta assume with Trump suggesting that Barack Obama was born in Kenya to get him disqualified, he's not above doing dirty
Look,
tricks
that
either.
was that was a far stretch. I didn't believe, I
I'm
didn't
just
believe that.
saying.
Like I
I
said, I'm
I
not a
get your
Trump
point.
supporter.
I get your point. I'm
I'm not
just
a Trump
saying that.
supporter.
Yeah, I get your point. I'm just saying both sides of this event are capable of doing dirty tricks.
You're
So it
right.
ain't like that. Yeah, it ain't like that Trump is some innocent guy that won't
Oh
do
no,
dirty tricks himself.
man,
So
hell no. Trump's probably as dirty as they come. I'm
I
not.
didn't expect that from you.
I'm just. Look,
After
I'm
our
just.
conversation, I did not expect you to end our conversation by saying Trump is as dirty as they come. I didn't expect that.
But like I said, I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm not a Democrat or Republican. But you know what? I am a guy from the streets, okay? I've seen it both ways, and it doesn't matter. Look, somebody that's got something to hide, they can be the dirtiest trick play in the book. You know what I'm saying? But from what I see and hear, and especially that with the Bill O'Reilly clip that I saw this morning. That's what really got me. I wouldn't even have come. I wouldn't even have hit your come on live with you today. I'd have just watched your show like I do every day. But when I saw that and I heard you say, that there's no way that they wouldn't give Trump nothing, Trump's people nothing, no itemized, no nothing, this, that, nothing. And when I saw that little attorney lady on there, and she said that they made her turn her camera off, and
I
that
don't know. I'm gonna tell you, Trump's other not the lady you said because this is somebody, but Trump's other attorney, Sidney Powell, who was at the January 6th protest that day, she said the man won a landslide by an election. So I just want to make a point to you: don't believe every attorney you see on television.
you're
Let
right.
me
You
ask
are.
you this question though. Let me ask you this question: would you support a third Trump attempted presidency?
No, I didn't support the first one.
You said you voted for him twice, I thought.
No, that's the guy before me. I didn't
Oh,
vote. I didn't.
okay.
Hell no.
All right. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. I got to move it on, man. I mistook you for the guy. Okay. Fair
All
point.
right,
All
brother.
right. Appreciate you
Thanks.
coming through. I got to move it on.
All right,
All right.
thank you.
Catch you later. Good talk.
All right.
All right. Looking at the
comments, you want street cops to have cameras at all times, but the FBI cannot be filmed. TikTok Q Patriot. You're during a warrant. I don't know. I don't know how that works when it comes to when they're performing a warrant in regards to reclaiming top level classified information, so classified that the former president of the United States cannot even have it in his possession. If you film that, the FBI is going to want to have possession of the film because now you have classified information on film. That's the problem. You're at the home of this guy because you believe he is haphazardly handling classified information. And you're going to tell me you want folks representing this guy to be able to film what you're doing, potentially capturing video footage of the information that he's already been accused of haphazardly handling. And now he has it on film. They're not going to let you do that. Period. It's just because of the sensitivity, the sensitive nature of what they are seizing. They're not going to let you film it from that aspect. I don't know if that makes sense to you or not, but I'll go right back to the box. TikToker.
What are you, crazy? No, I'm not crazy. Talking to the folks. TikToker, good afternoon.
Hey, what are you doing?
I'm talking to you, sir. What's on your mind today?
Well, I was thinking, if this is a big nothing burger, like remember when they got the FISA to spy on Trump, before he was president and during the time he was president,
Okay.
that was a big
I,
nothing
I,
burger.
I remember the accusations of it. I'll go with that, but keep going.
Yeah, they said that, well, they spied on him. Trump said they spied on him, and it was proven that they did. And
Well,
they
he
lied
said
on the
Obama
FISA
spied on him
reports.
too. Trump has been accusing people of being after him. He even said the Emmys were rigged against him. He should have won an Emmy award. I don't
Yeah, but
know. The guy is always saying somebody is against him. Yet somehow he found a way to make $10 billion. I don't know, but go ahead.
yes, but it was Jim Comey, Clapper, and all them giving them false information, talking about the Russian dossier and all
Mm-hmm.
that, and that's unprovable, and that's all a
Okay.
big lie. That's done by the FBI and all that. And Carter Page, they changed documents on him. Don't you remember when he said he was working for the CIA and some guy, I forgot his name, but wrote down that he was not working for the CIA. James Clapper. No, not
Okay.
Carter Page,
Okay.
but he
Some of
was
that.
working for the FBI,
Okay.
and they had to let him out.
I guess my question to you is, why do you think the FBI is after Trump?
They've been after him before day one. Remember Struck and all his emails back and forth to his lover, saying
So
that
what I don't,
we're going to
I
get
hear
him.
you.
We
I
got
hear
we
the
got an
point you're
insurance
making.
plan. Remember the insurance
So
plan?
why didn't Trump, if what you're saying is true, when Trump became president, why didn't he correct and clean up the FBI? Because he's only been out of office for a little bit less than 2 years, and you're making it sound like the FBI is dirty as a farm ground. So why didn't he do his job in regards to draining the swamp and things like that and clean up the FBI? Because a lot of this started while he was still president.
Yeah, he tried a little bit. He got rid of James Comey.
And that obviously did nothing, according to you,
Did
because
nothing
you're making
because
it. You're making it clear that they're still after him.
yeah, they are because they've been after him, going after him. January 6th hearings talking about insurrection. That's what's in the Constitution, where he can't get back into office, and they tried to do all them impeachments to get him out of office. Now they're doing this, but
But and that's what I'm saying is that why is it so many of these groups are going after this one guy? Like, he was president. Why didn't he clean this stuff up? I don't. That's where I'm drawing a blank. Is that if the system is that bad, and he promised to drain the swamp and clean the system, at least to some point we'd have to admit he must have failed at that miserably, right?
he's only one man, and there's like a
He promised
shitload
he
of
could do it.
rhinos.
He didn't. Yeah, but he didn't say he was only one man. He promised that he could do that.
That's like saying I can swim, but there's an ocean in front of you. Try to swim that. He didn't know it was that big, that deep.
So you're saying that he didn't know it was that big and that deep. I guess the question I would ask you is that something that a person who is not a typical politician might do? Is because they don't know things, because they've never been a politician. They may make mistakes and promise things that they have no possibility of ever achieving.
Well,
Would that
there's
be?
a possibility of learning. He can learn. He's very
There's
smart,
Yeah, but
and
there's also a possibility that
he's putting in a shitload of people. Everybody he's endorsed for the last 2 or 3 weeks have won. So he's a
yeah,
kingmaker.
yeah. He's a kingmaker, but he also, looking at the January 6th hearings, is also a rhino and traitor and treason maker as well, because you guys are accusing all of the folks from his inner circle that are testifying against him in the January 6th hearings of being rhinos, treasonous, and traitors. And those are all people that he appointed and hired.
Right. So anyway, why do you think they didn't waited for Trump to be in New York before they raided the house? Do you think the FBI was scared he was going to choke somebody out?
Well, from what I hear, they also went into some of his properties in New York as well, though.
I didn't hear that part.
Yeah, I heard
I
they
just,
went. Well, in regards to why they waited till he was not around, there could be some validity to that. Whereas the warrant would be a lot easier if you don't have the former president here starting up a ruckus. Because you see how quick a lot of MAGA went out there to support him, even with him not being there. If he's there and he starts, you know, let's just face it, Trump could easily spark something off with his words. And I, as myself personally, I don't think he's above that. If he thinks he's being wrongfully targeted, I could see him sparking out something that may result in violence. You've seen what happened with the FBI in Cincinnati yesterday. Do you
yeah,
not
I'm
see
sure.
do you think that Trump has any responsibility for that guy doing what he did, went out to Cincinnati and tried to take on the FBI with an AR-15?
Do you think Schumer should be anything should be going on
Hey,
with Schumer because he
okay,
said
let
that
me get an answer to that question, then we'll go to Schumer. Do you think what happened in Cincinnati with the guy trying to take on the office out there, do you think Trump holds any responsibility for that?
you can't be responsible for every nut that follows you.
Okay. So if Trump wasn't suggesting that the FBI was targeting him, do you think that Cincinnati event would have happened?
No, but I'm sure something else would trigger a lunatic.
Okay. So in other words, you're saying that Trump is not responsible for what happened in Cincinnati, but if Trump hadn't did what he did, Cincinnati would not have happened.
Yeah, but probably something else would have happened because he's crazy. You can't fix crazy.
Okay. What about creating crazy? Is it possible to have somebody who was a normal functioning person all of a sudden start believing that their rights are being taken away to the point where it drives them mad with anger? Can you create crazy?
You can stir the pot. I don't know if
Okay.
you can
All
make it,
right.
but you can
We're,
stir the
we're getting
pot.
somewhere. We're getting somewhere. So at the end of the day, what do you think they took from his resort in Mar-a-Lago or his home in Mar-a-Lago?
Well, I heard some left people say that, something about nuclear documents or something like that.
Yeah.
But that's not what I really don't put much attention in that. I heard some other lunatics say that there's something in Ivanka's casket and stuff like that. But what struck me was they told the staff to turn off the cameras at Mar-a-Lago, and they didn't. It came out on DailyMail.com. Came off on Gateway Pundit. That judge on what's his name on the five, the one you don't like.
Judge Janine Pirro.
Yeah, she also talked about it, and it said
Well,
Eric Trump.
let's be clear. I watch a lot of news media, and I certainly am a big fan of Fox News. I watch the Five almost every day. But let's be clear, Judge Janine Pirro on the afternoon, not even the evening, on the afternoon, said that the protesters that were in the Capitol building were Antifa. She had no way of knowing that. She was in New York in the studio, so she is by far deep in the camp for Trump. So anything that Judge Janine Pirro says that's in defense of Trump, I don't think she has any credibility. She's been to rallies, she's been on Air Force One. She's tuned into, if you don't trust CNN in regards to how they judge liberals, but you
Yeah,
trust Judge Janine Pirro in regards to how she judged Trump, then I don't know where to go
no,
with that. But she's as biased as they come.
yeah, that's why I rattled off a couple more. People that reported on it.
Okay. All right.
DailyMail.com, Gateway Pundit, and said that
Yeah.
I heard that Trump was watching it in New York on closed caption TV.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so in other
Do you
words,
think that's
unlike
possible?
my previous caller suggested that they were not allowed to film. What you're suggesting is they were told not to film, but they did film indeed.
Yeah, the
Okay.
security
I
folks
didn't hear
at
that.
Mar-a-Lago.
Right.
And Eric Trump said they went in places where they weren't supposed to go. You know what? I forgot what the word was. Anyways, yeah, they went in there and they was roaming through Melania's clothes and all that in her closet.
What about the possibility that they had a snitch in there? I mean, when they go in your house and they go right for shit, as opposed to ransacking the entire house, what are the chances you think that they went into the Trump's home, knowing how controversial that would be, is because they had inside information from somebody working in that house? Do you think that that is a possibility anyway?
I think maybe a plant like Secret Service dude that called and said that, called in, got
Okay.
paid off to do that. Maybe, I don't know.
Paid to do it. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Oh, I had something on
Okay.
him.
Could be. All right, man. Well, I got to move it on. I guess for a few other folks in the box, I appreciate you coming through, TikToker. You're welcome back anytime, man.
All right.
All right. You have a good one. Real quick in the comments, you friends of the program, you said you can be biased. You can be biased and still speak the truth. Okay, then make sure you have that same viewpoint when you hear CNN talk or when you hear MSNBC, because I've never heard of a right winger suggest that even though CNN is biased, they can still be telling the truth. I've always heard that anything CNN or MSNBC says it lacks credibility and cannot be trusted. So I'm just simply saying, when you look at Judge Jeanine Pirro or somebody like not Tucker Carlson, but the other guy, Jesse Waters on the 5. Jesse Waters is a lot of the folks that work at Fox News, for folks who suggest that CNN, I'll go right back to the box, but for folks who suggest that CNN and MSNBC is biased, a lot of folks that work at Fox News are not only biased, they've actually been on the stage at rallies. They actually have Trump's personal cell phone number. If you watch the January 6 hearings, you had folks like Laura Ingraham, Brian Kilmeade, and Sean Hannity actually calling the president direct. You don't hear of Don Lemon dialing Obama or President Biden on their damn personal phones. So if you can see the bias in CNN and MSNBC, but you don't see that shit, then you're only against bias when it's not in your favor. Going back to the box. Who is it? Papa Bear? Always good to talk to Papa Bear. Let's make it out. My sources are saying that Trump is getting arrested early next week by Be Ready MAGA hats. Leah, your sources are suggesting that a former president is going to be placed in handcuffs. I need to know who your sources are. Papa Bear, good afternoon.
Hey, how you doing, man? I don't know how the hell you do this, sitting in the car and shit. I'm sitting in the truck waiting for my wife on the hospital. Me and Thor are burning my ass up. I'm telling you. Thor's
Well,
my damn service.
I'm not in. It's not very hot here today. It's overcast. It's probably 70. I'm in the Midwest, so it's not. I don't have those same temperatures.
Yeah, well, I think it's really funny, but the gentleman that was talking about, well, they didn't allow the lawyer to film. Well, I think that's kind of like on a shaky ground type situation. Anyhow, they were after secrets. They were after classified things. And if that lawyer had been in there filming, she would have interfered with their investigation, and then they could have threw it. They got threw it out of court. Right now, they
not only from that standpoint, but the lawyer herself, if she does not have top secret clearance, she cannot be there to oversee the season of the documents. You're not even supposed to see this shit, so you can't be in here standing here watching us. So yeah, I can understand why the FBI may have pushed her out of there.
When I was in the military, I had secret clearance. And I've actually been inside of NORAD looking around. Okay, but I guarantee you, if I was in there and the top secret stuff was going on and all that crap, I wouldn't have been access to it. They'd tell me to get my butt away from there.
Right.
But the difference is it's kind of like right now Trump's in the everybody hates me, nobody loves me, I think I'll go hit worm stage. Okay, but the people that are turning on Trump, and the people that are turning on Trump, Mitch McConnell and shit, what's happened now? Because the Republican Party realizes he's got them in deeper than they want to get, and if he does this, they're going to lose everything on the damn midterms. They need to straighten out the party now.
So now, obviously, that's not going to happen between now and November in terms of straightening out things
Yeah,
because Trump is going to. Trump has a host of cases orbiting around him, and he's still in the pleading of fifth stage. So this is not going to be straightened out before the midterms, which leads me to ask you the question: do you think that there is validity in the belief that we're going to experience a red wave in November?
I don't know. I used to think if you could see it come out of someone's mouth, you know,
I get it.
that you
I
go,
get
oh,
it.
that's true. That's true. Because you see him saying it. But when someone comes and puts it out of his mouth and he says, I didn't say that. And then you see it there on live fucking TV. And then another guy from the other party says something. Oh, yeah, I seen him do that. Well, what the hell's the problem? You can't believe your eyes? What's your problem? I mean, hey, I don't care what you watch for news. You know, when you see four channels showing the same damn thing and it's live when they were filming it, what can you say? Nothing. But hey, listen, I've seen people that could do what Trump does. I mean, there was Jimmy Swaggart and all kinds of things telling people how things are going to be, how things are supposed to be, and do what the hell they want to. And that's Trump's problem. That is Trump's biggest problem. He's so full of himself, he won't listen to nobody. He won't listen to the advisors he puts in charge. He puts a military man in charge of the military and then won't take his advice. They tell him, hey, don't be saying this crap. What does he do? He says just what
So,
the hell he wants to.
so what are the chances do you believe that they will ultimately stop him from running again in 2024?
I don't really know, but if the party gets behind him, I mean, if they cut ties with him, he's going to have a problem. He's definitely going
They
to have a problem.
already are behind him. You said if the party gets behind him, they already are
Oh,
behind him.
yeah, but if it looks to me like everybody's abandoning ship right now.
I
If
don't
the
know
party
about
decides
that.
to go,
I don't.
think about it. Mitch McConnell. Well, he's not going to get away from nothing yet. I mean, those are people that he was tight with, And if
Yeah,
they're doing it, it's gonna trickle down. It's gonna be like the economy thing, the trickle down effect. Okay,
I
and
don't
if
know.
that happens,
I've been talking to MAGA. Well, shit, I've been talking to MAGA I've been talking to Republicans for 20 years, but I've been talking to MAGA ever since the guy came down the escalator in 2015. I have not seen a lot of support sway for Trump at all. The folks
yeah,
who are in the camp for Trump. Now, there is some, Liz Cheney and those types are drawing off some Republicans, but I assure you it's not a large percentage of the group. MAGA
yeah,
is still down for this guy. I don't see him swaying like you're talking about. Mitch
yeah,
McConnell, the folks you named, they never were MAGA. They're opportunists. They're willing to ride, like Lindsey Graham. They are willing to ride the wave as long as it has energy. Mitch McConnell will jump ship immediately. And a good example would be how a lot of those politicians spoke against Trump on the evening of January 6th because they thought he had collapsed. They thought his empire was gone. The minute they realized Trump was going to survive that shit, a lot of them came back on board and started recanting their statements. So
well,
I don't know if I would say they all have jumped ship like you're suggesting.
no, well, I see it happening. I think it might, but yeah, and let's be serious. If the people decide to vote that way, a Republican, and they pick him as their candidate, yeah, there's a good chance we'll have a red wave, and then we're going to have a dead a lame duck president for the next 2 years. That what they won't let do crap. But
What happens
you know,
into what happens in regards to the investigation into President Trump if we get a red wave?
I think things are going to go away. I think judges that you don't even know are going to go out there and start helping pardon him and all this crap. He'll find a way to pardon himself if he gets elected. you know, but no, it's a. I mean, hell, he checked into that, didn't he? Didn't he
You said
check into
what?
how to pardon himself? Didn't he check in to how to
There
pardon
are plenty
himself?
of folks who suggested that he did ask about if he could pardon his own self. So yeah.
Uh, so guys, if you say, "Well, I've seen this," it was right out of that person's mouth, and then you go opposite and say, "Well, he didn't say that," and you see that too. Somebody needs glasses more than I do, and I need
All
damn
right,
glasses.
Papa.
I'll talk to you
All
later.
right, Papa.
Okay.
All right. Okay, catch you later. Always good. Always good. Okay, let me look in the
Back to the box. What is it? Biden can't put his coat on for 5 minutes straight. I did see the video. What does I see? I can't even pronounce your name, but I did see the video of Biden trying to put on his coat. Listen, even though I voted personally for Biden, I wanted to get rid of the tweets and all of that shit. You can fault me however you want it, but I supported Biden. And I will say that some of the video footage of him bumbling on things, it does look damning. I mean, like you said, the jacket. There's another video footage of him shaking hands with a bunch of folks before giving a speech or something like that. And better yet, it's another guy in front of him where he's standing behind and he tries to shake the guy's hand twice as if he didn't realize you just shook the guy's hand like 2 seconds ago. I guess you could say it's potentially because he's aging, whatever the case may be, but there's a lot of video that doesn't make him look like he is totally there. But I'm not in the dementia camp. I'm not going to say something crazy like that. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a neurologist. I don't know what's going on in the man's mind. Going back to the box. Let's try Jamie Pizzini once again. I don't know what happened last time.
but TikTok didn't do it. We had a bad signal. Jamie, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here. I was on earlier, but I don't know why it shut me down. But I'm here.
Okay.
All
right.
I got a quick point to make, and then I got a story to tell you. I think is very relevant to what we're talking about.
Let's
one
go.
I have personal experience of. So the quick point is, a few months ago, I got a mailer asking for money from the Trump organization, and one of the things that it said statement from the 45th president of the United States, and he says the stories that you're hearing about the 15 boxes of things that I removed from the White House are completely false, completely made up by rhinos and the media, and don't believe anything you see or hear. And then it says, Putin is a great leader. He's a genius, and he doesn't need any of the documents I sent. Now,
Where
I
did that
stopped right
come
there.
from? Where did that come from?
I can actually send you the. I'll drop it in your box, but
Okay.
that was a support the president. It was like a fundraising campaign or whatever. I still get all of those.
Okay.
But
right.
I'll send it to
Keep
you.
going.
But
Okay.
so he said that he gave all of those documents back. Now, the thing here, the only reason I'm bringing this up is because if you're curious as to why the FBI was looking into him, it's because he took classified documents for sure and admitted it. Now, whether or not he really said that he sent Putin anything or that was just a typo, that's a reason why they're going to look into him. And the reason why that leads into my story, I'm going to tell you something. See, it doesn't matter now because my stepfather passed away. But when I was working for my stepfather back in the 2000s, we had the FBI came into our warehouse and they were investigating our neighbor. Okay. He ends up getting busted. They wanted to come through our warehouse. They didn't have a warrant, but they wanted to come in our warehouse and look through the cracks in the walls. Okay. So my stepfather lets them in. They come in, they look through the walls. Now I was there. This is firsthand information. I saw this happen. So the next thing you know, they get a search warrant and they bust my neighbor, the other warehouse owner. He had one of the largest weed growing operations that had ever been busted in my state. So the reason why I'm telling you this story is because right after that, I'm saying within 2 weeks, we go back to work one day and our doors are completely busted in. The FBI had then searched our warehouse. This is one of those, and they take some products away, and they say that my stepfather did something illegal. They said he traded nickel briquettes without a permit, and he actually did time in a federal, prison camp or whatever for this. So he eventually gets out. They demand a bunch of restitution from him and things like that. They get him to pay a bunch of money. Turns out that he actually did something that was technically illegal, but they said he stole these items. And I'm going to cut the story short, but I'm going to get back to the point, which is that when you have the federal government, the FBI looking into you, even if they're on your side, they're going to look at you too. And that's what ended up happening to my stepfather. And this is one of those things, we now have this saying in my family is you never invite the government into your house, period. It doesn't matter whether they're friendly or not.
But this is one thing I don't get because I've said this before on numerous broadcasts that the Trump in MAGA is starting to sound a hell of a lot like Black Lives Matter because the statement you just said, Black Lives Matter have been saying that shit all the time, and they've been told if you don't have nothing to hide, just comply. The guy is just doing his job. He's only doing his job. If you ain't got nothing to hide, just let him do his job and comply. Now all of a sudden, because they think they've been mistreated, all of that shit's went out the window, and they sound like NWA after police.
Well, yeah, you know,
What's that? Oh,
the thing about that, is it's true, and it's this is one of those things to where it doesn't matter until it affects you, and you just don't see it until it happens on your front lawn, you know. And it's just like people that complain about marijuana use until their family member gets cancer and needs it. You know, it's one of those kind of things, and I saw it in my own family. But the reason that kind of stuff is going to keep happening is because it's hard to understand things until they happen to you. You know, and
well,
then I wanted to.
but it's a little it's a little bit different when you're president. And this falls
Yeah.
back under the argument that a lot of Trump detractors often bring up that he don't apologize. Now that you realize the police can do some shady shit, how about going back and apologizing when you said the phrase, you know, anybody who pleads the fifth is crooked? Why don't you go back and apologize for all the back to blue shit you said now that you no longer back to blue? You get what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, and the thing is that, and one thing I'm going to agree with Trump on is he's right. If you plead the fifth, you are probably guilty. And the thing about that is that you don't have to help the government indict you. So like that's one of your rights. And you
Yeah.
know, people don't plead the fifth when they're not guilty. They go out there and try to plead their innocence. And again, if he is guilty of some of the stuff, it depends on what it is. Like I think the blowback is going to really matter on what the documents are. If it's he got a late night text from Stormy Daniels and he wanted to take that memo home so it didn't cause him any grief at home, Trumpers are going to eat that up. But if it turns out that he took some nuclear documents and he sent anything to Vladimir Putin, if that's really true, like I'm just saying that I can
Yeah,
tell
but
you, you're
I
saying.
get your point. I get your point on how damning that would be. But let me ask you this with all honest sincerity.
Mhm.
If the FBI can present something that Trump took that was highly classified and he misused it, sent it to Putin or anything that you're suggesting, do you think MAGA is going to actually believe that?
Well, you know, some of them are not, but I can tell you this. I don't know
Shit,
if I ever
most
told
of
you this before, but one of the jobs that like my small business, I take care of people's animals. So I'm a dog walker, take care of birds, whatever. So I spend a lot of time on the street walking around, and I live in a Republican district. Like we voted for Trump. You know where I'm at? This is Trumpertown. I can tell you this: there are a lot less Trump 2024 flags flying this week than there were last week. I'm seeing it with my own two eyes, and it's anecdotal. I realize that maybe those 25 houses I saw take their flags down this week, or all just happened to be washing them or something. But I'm saying I wonder if that's happening throughout the rest of the country. You know, again, now there's one Biden flag in my whole neighborhood. Now I walk, for example, I walk about 12
never
miles a
really
day.
seen it. Yeah, I've not. I don't live in a red area, and I don't even know of anybody who has a Biden flag up. Do they
I've
make
seen
those?
one. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just saw the second one. I see two of them, and I walk about 300 miles a month. So I'm saying that I usually see about 50 Trump flags. I only saw about 20 of them, 25 of them over the last few days.
Okay.
Now
Wow.
they may be moving on. They're going to vote for DeSantis. I'm not saying they're going to vote for a Democrat, but I'm saying I think Trump is he's this whatever's going on right now is damaging to him, even if it isn't extremely damaging.
Yeah.
And when you lost by
So,
7 million votes, what are you going to lose by
MAGA
next time?
seems to MAGA seems to believe that what's going on to Trump right now is helping him. And I'll ask folks in the audience, help or hurt? These investigations that Trump are going through, what do you guys believe in the audience? Just type help or hurt. You think this stuff is helping him now that he's been now that he's had a warrant served on his home in Mar-a-Lago? Is this stuff helping him or hurting him? And we'll see what comes in the comment. Well, there's a lot of hurts coming in. Wow.
Well,
Okay.
and,
All
and
right.
here's the other thing is the people that like, let's say it would help him. I'm gonna go to the other side for a second. The people that would now vote for him that wouldn't, do you think that exists? Or do you think it just galvanized some of his supporters? You know, like
Wait. You said the people that say that again. The people that
it,
now I don't.
is it going to gain him votes, even if it
No,
helps him? Like,
no.
right, right,
Listen.
that's what I'm saying.
I'm not in that. Yeah, I'm not in the camp that I believe a whole bunch of police going after you is going to help you out. No, I don't believe that it's helping them gain supporters at all. I think if you're strong MAGA, you're gonna roll with Trump no matter what the hell
Is
happens.
right,
But in
right,
terms of
right.
getting independence, yeah, I don't think it's helping them. I got to
But
move it on though, man.
okay,
You the
all
last
right.
word. Go ahead.
Yeah, all right. So I just wanted to say this to you about we're talking about people that supported him. There's a lot of senior citizens that supported him because they truly believed that he was going to try to make America great like when they were kids again. And I think as soon as you
Right.
get into that era of people, I'm talking 70 years old and plus, we're talking about in my state, the same people that wouldn't vote for a guy that said the F word on TV. So like when the worse this gets for him there, I think the worse it gets for that class of people, not the hardcore
Yeah.
MAGA. They're going to vote for him. I don't care what, he could shoot somebody, they'd still vote for him. But
Yeah.
I think that's where he's going to end up losing. And I think the January 6th hearings, they hurt him too. Just maybe not a lot, but when you already lost, it doesn't take a lot of hurt to make it worse on you. And I think eventually you're going to see him. He'll probably run and then drop out for his, I just don't want to do it, or something like that. I think it's going to be at his own terms, is what I'm saying, is if he doesn't get indicted anyway.
Fair point. He did it. What is the song by Frank Sinatra? I did it my way. All right, Jamie Pizzini. Catch you later. And
a really interesting point he mentioned is that I'm trying to block my screen. That's an interesting point he mentioned, that Trump may ultimately run and then come up with some type of reason to bow out. Wouldn't that allow him to keep the money he raised? Because that's one of the big issues you hear surrounding Trump about the money he's raising. He's raising a lot of money. I'm on his text message list myself, 80810, 80822. And then I'm sure all of my MAGA viewers get texts from those numbers all the time. Hell, I'm even on Mike Lindell's text list, 822 or some shit like that. I even get, or something like that from Mike Lindell. But Trump, his campaign raises money constantly. So my guess is if he does bow out from the 2024 election, it is going to be done in a manner that is financially beneficial. Hell, the guy got his ex-wife buried on his property, so he's very, very smart in terms of making money. Kid X
comments. This is a new caller. Doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. You're welcome here. Never get banned. Kid X, talk to me. What's up?
What's up, man? If I have to tap out, it's just because I'm at work, but I had to get in here for a second. I'm of the belief that this is some kind of setup, that the FBI fell for some kind of bait. I don't know if it was you or another caller that mentioned that there might be some sort of mole or insider that pointed them straight to like, oh, this is where the goods are at. But it could very well be, yes, that's the case, but also homie was directed in that specific direction, because I know it's going to be dismissed and people can go crazy over the whole Q thing, but I very much believe in the moves and counter moves aspect, and that this could very well be a ploy to introduce some kind of evidence into the conversation in a legal capacity.
Okay.
Secondly,
go ahead.
Secondly, the pretense that this is about him having taken documents. First off, Obama took thousands upon thousands of documents under the pretense of, I'm going to digitize them. To this day, he has not digitized a single document and still holds on to all of that. And on top of that, sealed everything so that, we couldn't see what he was doing.
If Obama did that, why didn't Trump get those documents back? He was in charge. He could have sent the FBI to do that. Why didn't he do that?
I mean, who knows that the right person doesn't have them? Because
why didn't he clarify it then? Why are we still so shaky on what even happened? Trump was in charge of the FBI. Why didn't he get clarity on this?
Well, you've probably heard the argument or the quote-unquote conspiracy that it's actually the military in charge. I very much believe that to some extent, Trump did play the part of president and probably legally on record, all of that went through, but that he was actually recruited by the military to run for president, because had they gone in and taken down Obama like they intended to, because they saw what he was doing, and I'm not talking about just the guns to Mexico and the money pallets overseas, and I mean, you name it.
Let me ask you, who was recruited by the military? Who are you suggesting that was recruited by the military?
Trump was recruited by the military because they knew if they went in and took Obama down and out of office like they planned to, people would lose their shit.
So who in the military would make the call to recruit Trump to run for president? A guy who's never had any political experience. Who in the military would be in charge to make that call?
I mean, you've heard the term white hats, right? There's good guys
Yeah.
in there that sat around, that were in on the conversation, that overheard XYZ, that have the that are privy to top level information, that probably thought, holy shit, these people have fully infiltrated all levels of the executive branch, the legislative branch. I mean, you name it. There's bad players in every capacity, whether in private
Yeah, but
industry or on the
we need
public side
some
of things.
names. We need some names. We can't just have a blind. And you say the military.
Bro,
We
I
need
would
some. I
love
need
to give you names, and that's why you have to watch the minutia and everything that's going on. That's why when people are up in arms talking about, oh, Trump got raided, I'm just sort of like, okay. And that's why,
why.
again, I'm making the argument that maybe this was a setup to some extent to have the FBI legally take information, and then they're in a position to where they have no choice but to act on whatever it is that they found.
So if
I'm
the
not
F, if
saying.
the, well,
Go ahead.
what you're saying is kind of complicated. If you believe the military can recruit a president, then I guess you would assume that the military recruited President Biden as well.
Well, that's the flip side of the coin. That's what we call the deep state, if you will.
What
That's
is
that's
that?
the
I
Hillary
hear that
syndicate
phrase
and
all the time.
friends.
What is the deep state? I hear that all the time in right wing circles. What is that?
It is these candlestein. I fucking struggle with that word every time. It's these operatives that their whole aim from the very beginning, the only reason why they're gunning for positions of power is because they want to take the operation from the inside out. They want to completely dismantle America. They want Sharia law is, I mean, you name it. There's so many facets to this, and that's the
Give
opportunity
me
that
some
we have as
names.
Americans, is that
You're
there's so
giving
many
me
factions involved to the
okay.
deep state that they don't even agree with one another. They're
Give
all
me
in
some.
a struggle
Give
for
me
power.
some. Give me some names of deep state members, because all of, you're giving me these groups, but I want to. We have to break this stuff apart to find out who's got who. Because no matter what you're talking about, whether it's the deep state, military recruit, there is a human being. There are people making up these groups. Give me some names, some deep state names.
Well, okay, it depends on what aspect you're fronting, I guess. So
The
like
one that
there's
the
like the
ones that
Hollywood
picked
side of
Obama.
things.
The ones you're suggesting that decided to recruit Biden for president. Give me some names.
Well, apparently actually no, Kamala was recruited herself because she couldn't even pull out a 2% when she was running on her own terms.
So
But
Kamala Harris is a deep state member.
I mean, some
You're
people are
not you're not giving
used.
me clarity. You're not giving me clarity. You're giving me more things to wonder about. Give me a deep state name.
Okay, Jill Biden probably, bro. One of the
What makes
big
you think
what
that? What? Okay,
Well,
if
what you have to
you're
understand is
suggesting that.
everyone's heard the term Freemasons, right? We all have heard about these Freemasons and how allegedly they're running around making calls in the power circles and whatnot. One of the things that Q alleged to very early in the conversation, again, it'll be dismissed and I'll be trolled for it, whatever, is that you have to watch the wives. These ladies behind closed doors are having their own secret meetings, completely orchestrating all kinds of power moves and then pushing their husband. Oh, Nancy Pelosi, thank you. That is an excellent
So let me ask you
major
this:
player in the quote unquote deep
Are there
state here.
any are there any deep state members that are Republican or MAGA?
Probably, dude. If you're a really good bad guy, you're in and you're deep in. So it's one of those
Would
tricky
you?
situations where you don't know who to
Someone
trust. Think about
suggested.
all these rhinos that turned on Trump, for example. That's
Okay.
not a real Republican. And when I say Republican, I mean a Republican as in for the Republic of America, not just by party title. if you're a true patriot,
So
then you're not going to just
I asked you, what is a deep state? You said somebody who wants to break up America. You think Nancy Pelosi wants to break America up?
Yes, she does not believe in the Constitution. She is very much all for self gain. Her and her family have had a dynastic rule in California for the last 200 years. She is the aunt of Gavin Newsom, for those who didn't know that. She is, through marriage, related to Adam Schiff, who is
So
very
let me
much.
ask you this question then. If you think Nancy Pelosi wants to break the country
Bye-bye.
up, Nancy Pelosi has been an elite powerhouse in this country for a significant period of time, probably before you were alive. If she wants to do this, why hasn't she gotten further? I mean, the country is nowhere near being broken up. According to Trump, just a couple years ago, the country was great and the most united in its history. So if she wants to do what you're suggesting, why hasn't she gained more ground? Consider how long she's been in power at the top level.
I mean, do you really believe she hasn't gained ground? You
Trump
really don't.
told
I
us.
mean, look at
Trump
what she's
told us
doing, dude. She's got Taiwan and China breathing down her neck on both sides. Who knows what she was up to on
You
that
said
last trip?
America. You said she wants to divide America. Now you're in. Now you're
The
over in
world is
Asia.
a
You
stage,
said
bro. No, no,
America.
no. It's all connected. It is all connected. If it was just an isolated situation, then we wouldn't have any dealings with any of these other people. They are all in on it.
Okay. Now, when you mentioned, and I'm gonna have to part ways in a minute, but I'll
Sure.
let you get the last word. But when you mentioned Q, a lot of the stuff you said about Q is just going to get dismissed. Why do you think people automatically dismiss stuff coming from Q?
Because the mainstream media is coordinated in that effort. Every talk show, every morning show, every news outlet, you name it. If they are part of legacy media, corporate media, all of it, they have been in a coordinated effort from the very inception of that particular movement to, I mean,
So let me
dismiss it
ask
by
you.
any
Okay,
means necessary, whether
okay,
making fun of it or
yeah,
go
I
ahead.
get your point. I get your point about the media, but my issue is, do you not think that some of the dismissal towards Q may have something to do with the fact they've said a significant amount of stuff that has not come true. Oh, remember, Trump was going to be reinstated in February. The military was going to arrest Nancy Pelosi and Biden. Trump was going to be reinstated in August. He was going to be like the 13th president. I mean, I am by no means Q. And I'm able to rattle off a host of things that Q has stated that was going to come true that did not. Why do they say
Okay.
so much stuff that doesn't come to fruition?
You just answered it right there. You said you're not much of a Q person, but that you can name all these incidents that did not come to fruition. What you have to understand is that there's people that take what Q says and inject their own times, their own dates. They make their own predictions based on this very vague notion. Half the time that Q states something, it's in the form of a question. He's not telling us anything outright because that would be
How
in
do you know
violation
Q
of.
is a he? How do you know Q is a he? Do you even know who the person is?
Well, I'm a big believer, and one more thing I'll be trolled for, that's totally cool by me, is that Q is actually, in fact, JFK Jr. himself, and that he did, in fact, fake his death, beat Hillary to the punch in 99 when they were both running for the Senate seat. The deep state is very much capable of taking someone out for power, just like they did with his dad. And he is very much aware of, or was very much aware of that, and probably likely is. And you have to remember JFK Jr. and Trump were best friends when he was alive to the public eye. It would not
Wait a minute.
surprise me in the slightest.
I was alive when the handsome JFK Jr. went down in a plane crash.
Very
He
handsome.
had his girlfriend in the plane. They recovered both bodies. So you're saying the girlfriend also faked her death?
We do not know that they recovered both bodies because allegedly they were cremated within less than 24 hours, which is very unusual. The whole situation is very suspect. If you really go back, and I encourage you to probe a little deeper. And the fun part is there have been multiple incidents at different Trump rallies where they have allegedly both been spotted in the audience. And there's one particular, I believe it was the inauguration of Trump himself, possibly. There's this picture of Hillary shaking someone's hands, and she looks like she saw a ghost. And we, in my circle, believe it is that particular individual.
Were they like at a Tupac concert or something?
Welcome
You
home.
losing me now. Okay, so you believe that JFK is still alive and he is indeed Q.
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. I just wanted to hear from you. Hey, listen, even though we don't agree,
And I
you're
will.
welcome back to the.
I just followed you. I'll DM you the picture that I'm talking about, where she saw said ghost.
Send it. It might make, for instance, an interesting conversation. Despite our disagreements,
Will
you're
do.
welcome back anytime, man. All right. Enjoy
Thanks,
your day
man.
at work. Catch
You
you
too,
later.
bud.
Okay.
All
All
righty.
right.
Let me make it clear. I saw folks like drop this guy. He's a kook. He's crazy. I always let people speak. That is one of the tenets of this, the core tenets of this program. I always let folks speak. It's not about agreeing or disagreeing. Sometimes I get some wild opinions that come out. I seen the comments eating the guy up like cereal, but I let the guy speak. Let you guys make your own judgment. All right, going back to the box, we'll take Mark Time, a frequent viewer of the program, certainly a friend of.
It was that was an interesting one. Mark Time. I'm assuming you heard what we just had on here.
Oh, yes, sir. And again, another time where I log on just to thank you for your patience and just
Thank
admire
you.
you, really.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Um,
You, I will
that's
say
tough
this
for
before
me.
I'll let you speak, but I will
Sure.
say this. I
Absolutely.
have not had the pleasure of speaking to a lot of QAnon on the program. I mean, even a lot of my MAGA folks now are not very strong in the Q camp anymore. And I was not doing this when Trump lost the election in 2020 and early 2021 when Q was at its strongest part. But it's interesting to speak to one of them. I mean, I love going in his head and tinkering around and seeing what's up there. It's some very interesting things there. It's like going around to my grandmother's attic. Like I didn't know they still had one of these. But go ahead, Mark.
No, I think that's very insightful, and I think you're right. And honestly, it is helpful. It is very educational because you do need to know how bad it gets and like what the other side like really does think, because it's you can't really dismiss something outright just because it seems ridiculous on its face. And it can seem ridiculous on its face and be ridiculous in the real world, which I think we all know is the case with some of the things that we just heard. And more so, what it makes me wonder is like, how did we get here, and how did he get there? What decisions did he make that brought him there, and what things kind of happened because of like the people he's around or the situation he's in, or any past like trauma or whatever. Like, I'm kind of wondering what's the nature versus nurture of like falling down a
Well,
rabbit hole like that.
what makes me, I guess, just takes me back is that I mean that young man there, he's at work. He looks like any law abiding regular citizen. You'd be happy to hang around, but it's like you hear what he's saying. It's like you wonder like how many duplicates are out there that because he said the military appointed Donald Trump. And it's like, okay, that means somebody in the military is currently running the country. And it's like the more questions you ask, you get answers that make you say, well, okay, well, shit, I got to question that now. And it just goes far. Like somebody typed in the comments, you go down a rabbit hole because every response makes you want to ask another question.
Right. And honestly, I think a lot of those lines of questioning all end in the same place, which is, are you okay? It's like and I'm not I'm man I'm shooting you 100%. I'm like, what got us here? What like I see what I see. To me, what I see is a lot of uncomfortability with the way that the world is, and I think that's why they rage at it so hard. I think they're being presented with like they are seeing Trump get like real consequences, like finally almost, or like it feels like it's creeping closer. I'm not saying that any of this is going to stick. I'm just saying they're watching. They're like false idol, like cracks in the armor, and that's like an ugly process. When you lose like a hero, like that's hard. That kind of shakes your worldview a little bit. And I think that's why they rail against it so hard, man. They just have to. Like it's a lot of like not looking inward.
Here's what I don't get. I see somebody in the comments said I thought Bewitched was Will. I thought she was hot. I thought the chick who played Bewitched, I thought she was kind of hot. So is Barbara Eden from Genie. But what gets me is that they don't trust the government, but they trust President Trump, even though he was leading the government. That doesn't make any sense. Once he became president, he is part of the entity. In fact, he's the leader of the entity that you don't trust. And it's like no matter what happens, they can still see a way to separate Trump from all of the branches of government that he's in, all of the branches of government that are Republicans, it doesn't matter who the person is. As long as it's not Trump, they can see the negative in that person at the drop of a hat. I just don't understand. It's something that will probably be psychoanalyzed by psychiatrists for years because I don't understand it.
Absolutely. And that is not my profession, but this is what my degree is in. And so I definitely see that. I definitely think through that lens anyway of like, what's going on in here, what wheels are turning, what information download. Cause like, you can see it, man, when people start to get into a debate, it's almost like they have like talking points. Like they're like, okay, all of this came from like Tucker, Hannity, Steve Bannon, Tim Pool. They kind of coalesce around this response.
I will.
And then
I'll agree with that. I'll agree with that because when I watch a lot of right-wing media, and you can there are keywords like if you're talking about guns or violence, Chicago's going to come up. You get used to it. Like
exactly.
If you're talking about January 6th, Black Lives Matter is going to come up. Yeah, it is a predictable set of talking points. But I always I enjoy talking to the folks. But you can tell sometimes when you're talking to someone what type of news media they've been watching recently, because you hear the same things being echoed back.
And maybe this is my fault for my diet, man, but I like bouncing around to debates like this that are not like both sides, but like you're saying, like you provide a platform for MAGA, and because I'm not here to talk to other leftists. I'm here to figure out why this is going on and like do my part to help fix it, and try not to be too mean on the way.
I don't know what happened there. Mark Tam.
For some reason I heard you went muffled there. Kid X, I do see you in the comments. You said we watch it all. Yeah, but you don't entertain it fairly. You watch all media, but all of your enemies are left-wingers. Even when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein's flight list, all of the bad people on the list were liberals. It's like you can't... I don't know. That's all I'll say. That's where you lose me at when they're all left-wingers. Okay, we'll go to Dentrell. Boom.
I think we talked yesterday. Why aren't we talking about the 37 anti-American countries gathered in Venezuela for war games? The Red Beard 21. 37 countries gathered in Venezuela for anti-American war games. I don't know why we're not talking about that. I have not heard much about that. Dentrell, good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon. Here's something I want to bring up.
Sure.
First of all, I love your platform, man. You're very fair. Okay, it's very important for us to be as moderates to be able to listen to both sides so we won't become who we criticize sometimes.
Fair point.
What I want to say is, could you please figure out who in the Trump campaign has gotten a hold of my emails and they are emailing me begging for money every single day?
Well, something, I'm not going to just blame that on Trump. There are plenty of folks out there who purchase packs of emails if they think that you're following politics, for instance, or if you're on a bunch of right-wing sites. People buy information because they reach out to you because they know they may have something that you're interested in to make money. That happens. It's like you go on Google Like I'm a big fan of electric vehicles. I ride electric bikes. I ride fast electric scooters. I love electric vehicles. If I look at one, all of my YouTube commercials are electric scooters and electric bikes. So it's people out there buying. It's not that somebody specifically got a hold of your email. They're just purchasing data. That's how that happens.
Well, my point that I wanted to make is because we do recognize that he does raise a lot of money. My whole thing is, why are certain people told to pull themselves up by their bootstraps that are in situations that are financially challenging, and this billionaire who they say is self-made gets the grift off of everyone else without ridicule or reproach?
It's political bullshit. The same thing, just like now, where they're saying, it's always just comply with the police. They're doing their job, and we're the party of law and order. And now, when Trump is having trouble, all of that has went down the sewer. No longer are they supporting the police without questioning. Now, all of that just comply. Oh hell no, I'm not complying. You can't trust the police. Well, that ain't what you were saying when Black Lives Matter was saying that. So a lot of it is just politics.
Final thing, quick. If they don't come with a something that's going to really shock the people about, and if I'm speaking of the FBI, this could actually, unfortunately, help the guy.
Well, they're not going to come. They're not going to come with something that really shocks the people if you're MAGA, because no matter what they present on Trump, there will always be a plausible way to spin it to suggest that ain't true. I mean, if you don't trust the FBI, you're not going to trust anything they present. If you get Merrick Garland on television, for instance, and he comes out there with the 14 boxes, and he opens the box up and slams down on the table a bunch of documents to say, here's proof that Trump had our Russian program, and here's a postage stamp showing he sent some of this shit to Ukraine or to Russia. The MAGA folks are going to say that's just made up. It's a lie. They're not going to believe anything. So there's a segment of the population that it does not matter what comes out of this. They're not going to believe it. They'll just say the FBI has been trying to get this guy since day one. And here they are now making up bullshit, just like they made up the weapons of mass destruction or something else they'll come up with. And hey, what can you say? That's what's going to happen, though.
Makes for interesting theater, man. It makes for interesting theater, and to see how the mind functions. It's very, very fascinating that people would believe some of the things that are out there that are crazy, and they won't believe some of the things that may be in front of their faces. Keep your platform going. Go ahead, I'm listening.
You. Mm-hmm. No, I just want to say the issue with Trump is that he has reached, and I had a program the other night in which I asked the question, is Trump the most persecuted man since Jesus? And I had that label because I've heard people say that. And the issue with Trump is he has been elevated to such a level that, as he said himself, people don't like to hear bad stuff about me. And that is true. His supporters do not entertain anything negative about him. Something has to be wrong with whatever the hell you're saying about Trump if it's negative. So what can you do with something like that?
Yep, that is true. That is true. Yeah. All right, so have a wonderful day. I'm going to stay in the comments. I like to keep the box open for other people to step in, but I just want to, because I get so frustrated. I get the text too. I'm like, man, leave my money alone.
If you get on, let's be clear. I don't think that if you get on Democrats' list, and I'm on several Democrats, they don't raise money like the Trump campaign does, but they do send you emails. I might get one from Biden probably about every 10 days from the Biden administration. I get messages from the Trump administration, like sometimes multiple times a day. They are really raising money. They are raising a ton of money, but I mean, the liberals do it also. So it's not just one side. I'm not going to pretend like the liberals aren't raising money. They just aren't raising it as much as the Trump side is.
Yeah, and they're not going under the mantra that I'm not getting paid. I'm doing this all for you for free, and I'm a billionaire. I don't need your money. And anything else.
Yeah, no.
I don't need your money now. Give me your money.
I can certainly see the hypocrisy. I definitely see that. All right, man. I appreciate you coming through. You're
All
welcome
right, now.
back anytime.
All right.
Catch you later. All right.
Thomas, laugh my ass off. Trump. What did that say? Trump no more a con than, what did this say? The damn left. Don't be hypocritical. Trump is no more a con than the damn left. You know, I don't totally disagree with you there, Heather White. There are plenty of cons on the left side of the aisle, but based on your statement that Trump is no more of a con than the damn left, it is essentially saying that there's plenty of cons on the left and Trump is no worse than them, which is also an admission that Trump himself is a con indeed. And I don't totally disagree with that. There are plenty of folks on the left that will con money out of you. But your statement admitted that Trump is also doing it. Don the Con is the greatest of all time. Oh my God. You are the nicest liberal I've ever listened to. Miss Chavez, thank you. I'm humbled by your sentiment. Appreciate that. I try to be fair with the people. I don't want to get on here. One of the things I don't like to do is berate my callers. I like folks. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. We can't be a country that claims freedom, constitutional rights, stuff like free speech, and then the minute somebody talks, you try to silence them or shut them up. One of the biggest insults I often get is when you criticize America from the left, a lot of folks on the right will say, well, if you don't like the country, just leave. How the hell could you ever call yourself a constitutionalist when the moment somebody exercises their First Amendment free speech rights, you threaten to kick them out of their damn homeland? Same thing with Colin Kaepernick. Maybe you don't like him taking a knee. Maybe you think it's disrespectful to the military, to the anthem, to white people, whatever the hell you want to say. But at the end of the day, it is a First Amendment protected measure of free speech. He can do that. Just like you can do whatever the hell you want as long as it's covered by the Constitution. That's all I say. Be able to call a strike no matter who's up to bat. Going back to the box, Adonis L. France.
Looking at the comments, Adonis, good afternoon, sir.
Hey, good afternoon, boss. How you doing today?
I'm doing very well. I'm just hanging around like Mike Pence at a Trump rally. Just hanging. What's going on with you?
Not too much. I just wanted to make a little brief statement, kind of to, I guess, get familiar with how other people started to side with Trump or whatnot. But I wanted to say that it really, for me, it started out when he first did an interview with Oprah Winfrey. And he was specifically talking about all the other foreign countries, how they were deliberately going against America and that America was not doing anything about it. And when I say America, I specifically mean the government. So at that time, Trump started to become very publicized excuse my words, in the ghetto's eyes. Okay, so like all the poor people, started to look at him a little different way. A lot of the black people started looking at him a different way because he was always talking about how can I buck the lying system that we know of. So I think that people are getting it like a lot of confusion that he's president now. They forgot what was his whole plan. He never claimed to be Democratic or Republican in the beginning when he said that he wanted to take control of, the mishaps.
No, wait a minute. He did. He's never really, to me, I don't think he's a Republican. But in that Oprah interview you're talking about, he did state, I identify as a Democrat. He claimed to be Democrat.
I know, I'm saying then he did, but I'm saying as he was starting to run. As he was running, he was just strictly for the people. He said to the people, I understand that you guys all understand that you feel that the government is full of lies. That is my job. I am coming here to expose the government. So yes, the people are going to hate him and the government's going to hate him. The people are going to think that he's for the government. The people are going to think he's for the people. Like, you understand the confusion there? All he said is, I'm coming in to expose what has been messing up my finances. And people,
Ronald Reagan did exactly what you're saying. You're saying also, yes. But the problem where Trump drew a lot of confusion to his words is he overdid it with the insults and nicknames and all kinds. You can expose somebody without calling them Pocahontas, for instance. And he did that every day, all day.
I mean, he was only
Huh?
one man. He didn't have the power, so he had to do whatever he could to
No.
expose them. Yes, it was wrong
I
the way
just
he did it.
told you. I just told you Ronald Reagan did it without the nicknames, so it can be done.
Right, but Ronald Reagan had a lot of political pull and friends back then. Trump had no one. The New York stopped him from monopolizing. They wanted to kick him out of Vegas like no one. He had no strong political friends like, the other guy did. So I mean
Could you
that's why
say? I don't get how could you say that a guy who was at Hillary Clinton's wedding had no political friends. I mean, Trump was tied in deep.
come on.
Chris Christie and all. I mean, Chris Christie is his friend. I mean, that guy was deeply tied in with politicians.
But
How
you're
could
a
you say he didn't have
billionaire.
any political
You're going to
friends?
network with everyone. Doesn't mean that you like them or that you know them. And everyone is going to try to network with you because you're literally exposing how you're just passing out money or gaining money by bucking the system. So, of course, you're going to see him at everybody's rally. I mean, why was he at Oprah's? Why did he initially do that interview with Oprah?
Okay, the point I'm trying to make is you're downplaying him to a level that I don't think he's at. I think the guy was far more connected politically than you're giving him credit for. I mean, he had access to everybody.
People wanted, once again, people wanted to know him. He was, bro. Who was Trump before the Oprah Winfrey interview? Like the guy, he didn't want to be bothered like that. Even when he got his own personal television show, what did he do? He sit back and I'm just going to fire everybody. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. I don't care. And everybody wanted to know him because he was the only one that was publicizing how to buck the system and not be prosecuted for it. Now he's been prosecuted for it, because it's exposed.
So what so you're saying that Trump has exposed the system?
Yes, well, trying. He's at least shown that it is not perfect and it has never been for the people.
Well, then I will say exactly what I said earlier in the broadcast. He sounds like Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter has been claiming that shit the whole time. How many
Yeah, but
African
Black Lives
American
Matter
groups?
ain't billionaires.
They've always claimed that stuff.
But
It's
Black
just
Lives
coming out
Matter
of.
ain't billionaires.
You said what?
But Black Lives Matter aren't billionaires. Remember, this guy's just advertising his wealth. He's doing what the hell he got to do against everybody. Listen, he's rich, so everybody pours against him. Once he showed the poor how they can have a chance, everybody's with him. Okay, now the government hates him because the government is seeing that now all the poor people.
How did he show the poor how they could have a? What did he do to show the
They
poor
couldn't
people they
do,
could have a
they
chance?
couldn't do a damn thing to him as long as he did their legal ways of bucking the system. I mean, the guys claimed, bankruptcy from Vegas, the things in New York, like everything he's doing, and he laughed about it. He gets on television and he laughs about it. These are what the smaller people that, I want to say,
Okay.
forgive me if I'm being insulting, but the ignorant people, they looked at that as heroic, like, oh my God, we have a chance. And
So
that's
let
it.
me
He stirred up the pot.
just so I can get clarity where you're coming from here. Trump's 4 years in office, do you think that was a successful presidency or do you think that was a failed president? Do you think he did a good job in office or not?
Okay, I think he did a good job in office as exposing them. As a president, it was horrible, but he did not come there to be a good president. He just wanted to try to expose them. That was it. Whether he did a good job about it or not, I mean, we're rebuking the results of that right now.
What I don't get is the claim that he exposed people. I don't think, like, you're right, he's richer than everybody else. I get that part. But Trump hasn't said nothing about government that has not already been said by millions of other Americans. Like
When,
I said,
yeah,
African Americans have been saying you can't trust the FBI and the police for generations. He ain't
right, but
said
they never
nothing
said
new.
why. But they never said
Huh?
why. I mean,
They
they never
did
said
say
why.
why. They've said why on a number of levels. They have given reasons. Whether it's power, whether it's racism, whether it's money, they have been giving you
But that's
reasons.
just like how you said. You're not giving me an answer. You're throwing me down a rabbit hole. That is not a why. Like I need to know a specific name. It can't be all these.
So give me something. Okay, if that's the case, you want some specific names. Give me somebody specific that Trump exposed.
The IRS,
A
by claiming
person, a
bankruptcy.
person. Everybody hates the IRS. Give me a name of somebody Trump exposed.
That's the whole point to this. That's the whole point. Listen, he don't care about people. He care about his money. When he showed how he can keep his money, he had to expose that to the people so he can get more support. Then the people like him. Like he don't. There's no specific person. It's the government. I keep saying this. The government and the FBI was playing with this guy's money. If you were rich, you would not like that. You would go against it
Okay,
too.
but I'm going back. I got
I'm
to
not
go
the
back to
FBI.
my original
Not the
statement.
FBI. I'm
I
the
got to
IRS. Excuse me.
Okay, I go back to my original statement. Trump ain't said nothing that nobody else hasn't said. I'm still having a hard time getting from you what did Trump expose that we didn't already know about. Give me something that he told us that we had no clue until he got in there and exposed it.
Uh, See, that's complicated, man, because you got a whole bunch of systems. He's not like, even as the latest interviewers were here saying that like there's a whole bunch of even his people that went against him, because there's a whole bunch of systems that he's trying to show. And this clearly, even the fact that he can't point out one person, but he was the head of all of them, clearly shows that. It clearly shows that.
But you're telling me that this guy, unlike everybody else, exposed things to us. But when I asked you, well, give me something he exposed to us that nobody knew anything about until Trump got in there and did it for us, you're it's complicated. Like, what did you learn from Trump yourself when he was in office? What did he make you say, damn, I did not know that. I'm glad he got in there and exposed that. Give me something that he told you that opened your eyes up that you had no clue about before he was there.
That I don't have to be patriotic or diplomatic, that I don't have to do with my taxes what the hell they want me to, that I don't have to just, it's just on a personal level. I don't understand. I can't get deep into it with the name calling and things like that. Like I stated in the beginning, this was just me telling how I came into, just accepting him.
So
Accepting him.
before Trump got elected in 2016, you
Right.
thought you had to be patriotic. You didn't notice Colin
No,
Kaepernick, or you didn't notice any of the African Americans that have been complaining about the system from Malcolm X on up. You thought you had to be patriotic until Trump got elected in 2016 and told you otherwise.
unfortunately, a lot of poor people that I grew up with and live with, we don't get all this information on a daily basis. We can't live off of it. We don't even have the opportunity and leisure to study politics and politicians like that. So we just go off of how the algorithm is making us move. Does that make
Do
sense?
you have
We don't.
a television?
I
Because
didn't as a.
you
I
can
did not
see
as a.
Colin Kaepernick taking a knee on TV.
Right. I did not have a television as of November of last year, sir. I'm being dead serious
Okay.
with you.
All
People
right.
don't
All
understand
right.
this. Everybody in the country does not have a television. And hell, why did they start giving out free Obama phones? Because people don't want to realize this. Most poor people didn't have access to these political, debates and suggestions and
Okay,
information.
where did
All the
you get the word? If you didn't have a TV until just last year, where did you get the word Obama phone from? Where did that? That's not in any school book. Where have you gotten that term from?
from the GR office, from the General Relief Office, the welfare building. Here's
In
an
the
Obama
welfare
phone.
building, considering the fact that those phones were given out, it started under the Bush administration. You're
Mm-hmm.
saying in the
Actually,
welfare
earlier
building,
than
they
that.
call them the Obama phone.
Wait, repeat that again, sir.
Those phones that were labeled the Obama phone, that program was started out under George W. Bush. You're suggesting that in the welfare office, they actually label that program Obama phones.
No. See, here's another thing. so, so there's like 5 programs out here. There's 5 programs that offer those free phones. And once again, poor people don't get into the dynamics of the what you labeled it. They're like, oh, it's a free phone. You got Assured. You got I don't need the one that I have was Assured. And there's a lot of them that if you don't like your company, you can simply go to the GR office and there's other tents and gazebos set up and say, hey, I just want this company. And so that became the nickname became Obama phone. It's meaning that it's not a president's thing, it's a government thing, and it's only meant to track your ass. It's giving it to you for free because you're not controlled by the government. You're too poor. Nobody can tell you what the hell to do because you're not even paying attention to what's going on around you.
All right, okay. And just before I let you go, I guess I'd have to. How are you communicating with me now? I'm assuming it's not on an Obama phone, correct?
No, sir, but it's a Metro PCS phone.
All right, fair point. Hey, listen, Adonis, good conversation, man. I got to move it on. I got to part ways with you, but anytime you want to
Thank you,
come on
man.
back through, you catch me on, come on through. You're welcome anytime.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you. I'm always learning. I appreciate you. Thank you.
All right. Pleasure talking to you. Okay. Moving back in the comments, I enjoy talking to Adonis, but some of the things you guys be saying in the comments, I try to give my callers, the viewers, the ones who talk to me, I try to give them my undivided attention, but make no mistake about it, even though I'm giving them my undivided attention, I see the shit you guys be typing. And I gotta tell you, it takes a poker face sometimes to not bust out laughing for some of the things you guys be saying, because whoever I'm talking to, whatever side of the aisle they're on, there's somebody in the comments criticizing the fuck out of them. And I try to maintain a straight face. It's always a pleasure talking to you guys, though. You guys say some of the wildest things, and it's like, oh my God. I'll tell you, as much as I try to maintain a level of civility, try to exercise patience, there are times when I get off of this device and walk down the street arguing with my goddamn self. Like, what the hell? I gotta go. I'm on lunch break. I catch you guys on the next broadcast. Feel free to follow the channel. I love the fact that you guys have all been following. The program's getting a bit bigger. Certainly, like I said, my audience is primarily MAGA. That's who I generally prefer talking to, but liberals are always welcome every day, any day, all day. But MAGA, keep coming through. Keep talking to your boy. I got to catch you guys later. Got to go.